Hey there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I have a card for you for the Color Throwdown Challenge number 484, which is the colors green, eggplant, and white. And I'm going to show this My Favorite Things stamp called Sweet Succulents. So I'm going to do something I haven't done in a long time, which is use my Prismacolor pencils. Typically when I color with my Prismacolor pencils, I use a blending stump and mineral spirits or Gamsol. But today I'm just going to use them to blend out. Now I've got my stamp there and I'm going to pull out some Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink and I'm going to stamp up my images there on that piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock. I'm just going to stamp them all out. And then I'm going to grab my pencils, which you can see them there. I don't have any numbers for you because I just was so into coloring that I didn't write them down. Now when you're coloring like this, you're going to start off with your darkest color in your shadows, and you don't want to have a heavy hand. These are wax pencils, so that wax will eventually build up on each other, so you want to just go lightly. And I'm going to skip around here a bit because I get so into coloring that eventually that image moves over to the left so far that it's not even in the screen. So I will cut that out and I will move on to the other image. And I'm doing the same thing. I started off with the dark, moved on to the light, and then I'm going to grab the dark again and I'm going to blend that out. I go a little bit darker and then I slowly blend out softer and just go back and forth until you get the look that you're looking for. And I have to say, I don't know why I haven't done this in a while because this was therapeutic, it was fun, I really enjoyed it. And you notice I grabbed like a paintbrush in between there, and the paintbrush that I use is a Perfect Pearls paintbrush, and I use that just to kind of wipe off some of the pencil dust, because eventually you get some pencil dust. And I'm doing the same thing with each image, going where I think the shadows might be, and wiping away as I go. And I've sped this up about 4 times because otherwise this video would have been about 40 minutes long. Because it's doing something like this isn't a short process. It does take some time. And you noticed I started off with the white there because I wanted to go ahead and put my highlight in. I didn't do that with the other images because I didn't really have a highlight that I wanted, but I wanted to make sure and have a little bit of the white down so I knew where my highlight was going. And I have 2 purples here, making coloring in each of those pots, going darker, a little bit darker at the edges, putting a little bit more pressure and blending out. And I'm telling you, this was fun. You can get Prismacolor pencils at Hobby Lobby, Michael's. I think you can even get them at Joann's. Of course, Amazon. In that last pot there, I decided to put my highlight in a different area. I put my highlight in a different area on each one just to kind of give a little bit of variation. Blending out, going darker. And I only used 2 colors. I'm sure you could go with a lot more colors, but I actually don't have that many Prismacolors, but I may have to remedy that eventually here. And when I start out with those pencils nice and sharp. And now I'm using the My Favorite Things Sweet Succulents die and the My Favorite Things Blueprint Sketch number 24 die. And I ran that through my Big Shot machine. And that box is a hot mess, but it's my splatter box. So I am grabbing my fine Tec Pearlescent Watercolors in the amethyst color there, spritzing some water in it to activate it. I did a video on those just a little while ago. And now that I've done some splatters, it has a nice shine, and I set that off to the side and grab a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I scored at 5 1/2. That is the Stampin' Up! Concord Crush cardstock, and I'm just giving it a good crease there. And I have another piece of that there in my Mini Misty, which is a lot like my stamp platform, just a much smaller. And I'm inking up my sentiment with some Versamark ink, and then I'm going to use some white embossing powder over the top of that and heat that up with my heat gun. Before I did that, I had an anti-static powder tool. If you can see a little bit of white residue on there, that's from that, and that keeps the powder from sticking to places I don't want it to stick to. As you can see, the heat is melting that white powder to give it a nice, crisp finish. And I'm going to trim that down and then give it some flag border or flag edge on each side. And I've put foam tape on the back of all those things, and now I'm ready to assemble the front of that card there. And I put those there, and I'm just going to stack my images on top of that. They have foam tape as well. And then I will be ready to stick that down on my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch front panel there. But before I do that, this heart was a happy accident. It cut out as well in my die, and so I colored it the same as I did the pots, and I'm sticking that down with some foam tape as well. Now I'll grab my Tombow Mono multi-adhesive. I'm going to put that all over the back, and then that liquid adhesive is nice because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So if you put your card panel down not so straight, this will give you some time to kind of wiggle it around before it becomes very permanent. I'm grabbing the Mini Misty again, and another panel for the inside of my card, which is measured to 4 by 5 1/4, and that's a Neenah Solar White as well, and I'm just inking that up with my Jet Black ink by Fawn, stamping that down. And now I'm going to grab a couple of Distress ink colors, which aren't really great for stamping, but I don't really care, it's the inside. So I'm going to stamp my pot with the Dusty Concord, and then my plant image is going to be stamped with Mowed Lawn. I kind of like the splotchy look it gives on the inside there. And once I'm done with that, I will grab my Tombow Mono multi-adhesive again and stick that down to the inside of the card. And that's going to finish off the card there. If you have any questions, I'd love it if you left those comments in the comments below. And I'd also really love it if you liked or subscribed to the page, because I'll just keep bringing stuff. I'm having fun doing it, so thanks for stopping by.